Hi, and welcome to another episode of Cadence Connect. With me today, I have got the highly colourful and wonderful Claire Bannister. Claire, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's lovely to be here.
You are very welcome, and it's nice to see you. Well, you said I don't know much about colour, but you certainly look colour coordinated. So we'll dive into that as we go. But Claire, why don't you introduce yourself a little bit? I'm sure you'll be introducing yourself much better than I can. So why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about yourself, and yeah.
Good. No, thank you for, as I say, thanks for having me. So obviously I'm Claire. I am the Managing Director of House of Colour in the UK. I'm responsible for, it's a franchise organisation, so I'm responsible for all of our franchises there and in little elements in Europe. And what else can I say to you? I'm a mum of two, recently moved to the country, so dealing with not being able to nip out and get a pint of milk very easily, but that's fine.
Relate to that.
It's really, really weird. But I've been doing this job for 2 years, just over 2 years. It was 2 years in May. And previous to that, I became a franchise of House of Colour in 2014. And previous to that, I was actually headed up Barclays outsourcing team for a long while. So fundamentally a different career than I do now. And I have to say, being a franchise owner was the most rewarding thing I've ever done. Very different from working in financial services, but hugely beneficial to me and obviously my business. And then 2 years ago, ended up joining House of Colour Limited, as it were, and selling my franchise and getting to do the job I've always wanted, which is to lead the company. So that's me in a nutshell.
Fantastic. So there's a bit of a story there. So you've made kind of two quite major jumps there in a relatively short space of time. So tell us a little bit more about why you left Barclays and became a franchisee for starters, and then maybe a little bit about the next step. What was it about House of Colour you love so much that you wanted to kind of lead it in the UK?
Okay. So it's a bit of a story. So the job I had at Barclays was a huge sort of highly pressurised job, which was absolutely fine, and I loved it. I loved the buzz of it. Being in negotiations all the time, but it is not conducive to being a mum in any way, shape or form. And my husband and I met in procurement. So we decided to leave and run our own consultancy doing exactly that job, which we did. But actually it became harder for me to juggle that life, working full time with two small children. And our son was about 3, 4, and one of my best friends bought me a colour session. I only ever wore black and white, so it was black and white, black suits, white shirt, and Nettie bought me my colour session, and off I went. And the lovely lady from House of Colour told me that I was a spring. She went through the process and told me a spring, which is lots of bright colours. There's not 1 ounce of black or white, so you would be told off with your T-shirt. And it was terrifying, but also really odd, because I saw what happened to my face and how my skin changed in the right colours. And I was in hook, line and sinker. This is it. I then learned how to dress my body and my proportions. So it was a real avid customer of House of Colour and was telling everybody about it. And when I was sort of thinking about a career change, one of my friends said to me, you should do that House of Colour thing. You're always talking about it. We've all been, we all love it. You need to do that. I was going like, wonder if I can.
I can see that.
So went and met she's the owner of House of Colour, Helen, who was then the MD then, and met her and just felt so inspired and excited to do it. So literally came out of their head office in Watford, phoned my husband and went, we've got to do it. This is what we're going to do. But what I also thought quite arrogantly, and she knows that this is that I just said, was so inspired by her, I said, and one day I want to do that job. One day I want to run them. And it sounds arrogant. I don't even mean it like that, but I was so into House of Colour. It was so wonderful. So I started my franchise journey, as I say, in 2014, and trained to do the marathon in the same year, which is a bit ridiculous. But anyway, and within 2 years became their number one franchise owner. So that was, I had a bit of a sort of rapid growth, which had its own home challenges, really. But and then got to be interviewed for my dream job, 2 years ago. So yeah, it's been a bit of a journey, but one that I wouldn't change for £1 million.
Oh, so, I mean, it sounds fantastic. Yeah, I mean, and just the enthusiasm you're talking about it, obviously, and the fact you knew so early on, like, I'd love that. That's the job that I want. That sounds fantastic. And you've got it. And how amazing. That's brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it is. It's really good. I've learned a lot since I've done this job, because you get to look at it from the other side as the franchisor rather than the franchisee. But I think the fact that I've done that bit actually hopefully makes me more empathetic to my franchise owners, because I've felt their pain. I know what it's really like to be out on the ground. So I think having those two is really good.
So yeah, well, that brings me really nicely onto the next question I often ask people, which is like, what were the kind of key challenges that you found? So, like, what was those things you actually have empathy over? What was the biggest challenge? I guess, especially as you were. I mean, I'm guessing you must be very good at sales if you've done 2 years. Like, the bit everybody hates usually is the sales bit, right? So they like doing the thing, but they don't like getting the customers. So if you grew the biggest in 2 years, you must be very good at that. So tell us about some of the challenges you faced and how you learned them.
Yeah, I was I think lots of challenges. The thing for me is I thought I was a great businesswoman because I had this big career in Barclays, but actually running your own business is a totally different ball. It's absolutely different. So doing my accounts, managing all the admin, even the IT stuff, I'd always had someone sort that, and then all of a sudden I'm doing it. So that was a huge juggle and a big learning curve for me. But how I sort of focused, and I think the thing I bring to my franchises is that I was very, very clear on the experience I wanted the client to have. So I really wanted the studio to be beautiful. We are a high-end service, and we are the best in the world at what we do, and therefore the customer experience has to be spot on. So I was very clear on that, and I think that helped. In terms of setting, I'm actually not a seller very well, but because I think I'm so passionate about what we do, and once you see people see themselves in the mirror for the first time and go, wow, I actually can't believe how good I look and how confident I feel in the clothes you put me in. And, you see people's shoulders go back, and that just spurs you on, really. So you just talking about it was really good. And so that's what I did, really. So I think that was the challenges were all around the admin and the business side of it, which surprised me because I thought I'd be really good at that. But in terms of the selling and the customer experience, it's not like real work. So we always say that what we do is a little bit like being really good at football, and we're getting paid for it by West Ham, even though we obviously don't get paid as much as those footballers. It's so joyful. You get to do what you love. So that's why we have so many franchise owners that have been doing this job for over 30 years, and we have to almost prize the drapes that we do the colour analysis off them and say it's time to retire now, because people don't want to retire. So it's
that's right. And like you say, if you're having that if you're seeing those sort of smiles and that customer reaction, it's hardly surprising. I mean, who doesn't want a job like that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I feel very blessed to do it, really. So
that's fantastic. So on here, we talk a lot about content marketing, and obviously particularly video. That's where I'm coming from, but it doesn't have to be video. What have you found? How important do you think content marketing is in? Have you found that as you've been promoting your firstly as a franchisee, and now obviously seeing it the other side as a franchisor in the fast-moving landscape? What are your views on that?
Oh, as a franchisee, it was quite a scary thing, because I'm quite a confident woman, but putting myself out on camera is not something I'm particularly comfortable with. I put a good facade on. And so when I knew that I'd have to do social media and I'd have to get out there and talk to people, I'm fine in a room of people talking. That is absolutely fine. But asking me then to do it on any form of platform where I can watch it back was, I had a huge imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
And it was challenging actually, because I remember I took some training for Instagram, and she's now 18, but my then 14-year-old daughter came up to me and said, "Will you just stop doing videos?" It's like, why? And she was, because it's really embarrassing because everyone can see you. And I was like, oh,
thanks for that.
Yeah, thanks. And well, this is my business. She said, go private, just go private. And I was like, well, it doesn't really work for the business, So I had to take a deep breath and take a brave pill to do that, which was really good. And it worked because I'm a firm believer people buy people. And if you have a connection with somebody, and the best way to do that is through that video, then people will come to me because they'll feel safe and protected as they come and have their services done with me. So I knew it was the right thing to do, but very uncomfortable. And also technology-wise needed some training on how to do that. So that was all fine. So that from a franchise point of view. And to alliterate how good it was, I think in 2014, I would say probably 95% of my clients were from recommendation. Okay. When I left 2 years ago, I would say 40 to 50% of my clients came from Instagram and Facebook.
Wow. Right. Yeah. Amazing.
So I had people traveling from all around the country to come and see me. And my other franchisees do that as well, because people go, I like her. I actually feel I've got a connection with her. And the nature of what we do, you need to feel safe and secure and comfortable with that person. So that was, it worked, as it were. It worked. But then when I flip over to being a franchisor and trying to encourage my franchise owners to take that brave leap, some are fantastic and have done it. Others still find it's not everyone's bag, is it?
To be honest, I don't think it's anyone's bag. I think, like you say, I think at some point, in some way, shape, or form, you can sugarcoat it. And I do, with my customers, I try to sugarcoat it as much as I can. But ultimately, there is a little bit of element. You got to eat the brave pill, right? You
absolutely do. Absolutely
there's no two ways about it, and you've got to push yourself out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, no, you do. And I think when I took this job on, I was very focused on sort of, I called it renovating the company. So helping the company grow, recover from COVID, and get it back on the ground. And now what I've realized is the power of our voice and us talking and marketing ourselves in that way is the way forward. People need to buy into a franchise with House of Colour. They need to see me because they trust me, and they need to see, hear it from me. And so that's one thing, but also they need to hear it from our franchisees as well. And so I think the power of hearing their stories and their success stories, their testimonials, is a key part of our recruitment and our marketing. And the other thing we're less successful at, I think, here in the UK than my USA counterparts, is getting our clients on camera.
Oh, okay.
So in the US, every client I see is filming their experience, talking about what they're doing, saying how fabulous they feel post it, and yet in here in the UK, it is a little bit more challenging asking our clients to do that. They don't feel as comfortable as in the US. That's my observation.
Yeah, no, I think that is from having worked a lot with Americans, I think there is a confidence thing.
Yeah.
Confidence is part. I mean, it's a massive generalization, but you've probably found this, that it's Americans are just more confident, frankly, on average, and they project often what we perceive as arrogance is just confidence.
Totally. And I think it is changing in the UK, because in our field, it is becoming more common and more acceptable to have personal stylists and to take care of yourself and look after yourself. And so it is, but in the US, they get it 100%. They get that if they look and feel well and healthy, that is a okay thing, and it's not self-indulgent. Whereas in the UK, I think it is still a little bit deemed a little bit self-indulgent.
Yeah, well, I mean, generally, we're about 10 or 20 years behind. Whatever we look at, we don't need that. And then 10 years later, 20 years later, we're all doing it, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's quite common, isn't it? So so you said about what the most effective things that talk you to your franchisees, and ideally you'd like to get your customers on. Can you share a particular success story that highlights, where you've had real success with something like that, a particular piece of content? Doesn't matter if you haven't, but.
Well, I feel, I mean, I'm doing this at the moment because I shared with you before, but we have a discovery day next week. So we hold recruitment discovery days, and recruitment has been quite slow in the whole franchise sector for a while, and we have started to do videos to both of myself and some successful franchisees to just talk through their story and talk about what it's like working with House of Colour, and whether, I mean, this is quite early days, so whether or not that has had an impact, but we've got the most people ever signed up for our Discovery Day next week. So
wow, fantastic.
I don't want to tempt fate because they may not turn up, but I think that has definitely helped us. And I'm just trying to think of another example where that has helped. And I think it is mainly around recruitment, but also we have products. So we have makeup products that we use during our sessions, that are our own makeup products, and we've spent a lot of time changing the way we teach that application of those products by video, right. But also we have an external trainer who comes and does video tutorials and everything, and I think that's really helped our makeup sales, but also we've used him in our video content externally, and I think giving that external accreditation to what you do has also really helped us with our makeup sales. So there's lots of ways we're using it now.
Brilliant. And because I guess people buy what they see, right? So if they go, somebody said, oh, and you could use this mascara and that, I don't know about makeup, but the one thing they haven't got yet, and they go, oh yeah, I could use it. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And our target demographic, which is about, is about the 30s to 40s. Those women, like you said, will check you out on YouTube.
Yeah,
they'll check. They want to know how to do something. If my children want to know how to do something, they'll go onto TikTok or YouTube and find out what it's like to do it. So it's quite an important thing, isn't it? Really.
And if you don't have that information, where are they going to go? They're going to go somewhere else to get that information rather than from you, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely, and I don't want them
to. Absolutely. So, what advice would you give to other franchisors looking to implement, video content? What's been what would be your top tips for that?
Oh well, I would definitely say to do it and to be brave and try to get your imposter syndrome into hand and use someone who, like yourself, knows how to. I think it's about knowing the tools that you can use to make it easier for you, and feeling comfortable. I think you've got to feel comfortable on camera, and the way you do that is by practicing. And I think I felt that I had to say something, scientific or earth-shattering, right. and actually you don't. People do just want to hear from you in the most authentic way about why they should join your franchise, and if you can't sell that, then no one else can.
I love that. I was just thinking that is like the perfect little soundbite, from.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, perfect. Like
Didn't even practice it.
Really helpful. You'll probably see that as a separate clip, because I was just I kind of through these things, I think that's such a good way of putting it. Like you say, it doesn't have to be earth shattering. It's more about relationship, right?
100%. And if you've got a product or a service that you're so passionate about that you've actually turned it into a franchise, then you have all that material. You just probably don't know how to use it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So, and I think everyone's passionate about what they do, but if you're passionate about it, you can sell it.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's been your experience, right? You don't even see yourself as a salesperson; you just somebody who loves the product, right? And that's infectious.
Yeah, no, and I think that's a really key word. It's infectious, and whether it's a franchise, for care how every franchise we do does something really good in the world. So gives you a product, gives you a service. So we should just talk about it more.
Brilliant, love it. Look, it's been really, really interesting. I love your take on it as well, and it sounds a fantastic product. I was trying to think whether my wife's had it. I think she might have had her colours done or something, but I will recommend you to her. I think she'd be if I don't recommend it too much because she might stop working with me and come and be a franchisee for you. I suspect.
Yeah, she might need to come over here.
It should be perfect. I can imagine her being you like back in 2014, to be honest. So, I'll encourage it, but not too much. So I don't want to discovery day. Hey Claire, thank you so much for joining me. Really appreciate it. It's been great to hear your take, and thank you all for watching. And I'll see you on the next one.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Cheers.